A roar tears through the storm. Buildings tremble, skies darken, and the ground shakes as if the earth itself fears the sound. It's not just noise, it's a warning. A call that signals the arrival of a king. This is not the story of a monster. This is the legend of a warrior who stands against gods, machines, and beasts, and still refuses to kneel. His name is Kong. The world has always feared giants. From the myths of ancient gods to the nightmares of colossal beasts, humans have told stories about creatures too large, too powerful, too unstoppable. But among them all, one name has always risen above the rest. King Kong. Kong is not simply a beast towering above the jungle canopy or the city skyline. He is something more. He is the symbol of survival itself, a creature who has been tested by fire, storm, and blood. Every roar that echoes from his chest is more than sound, it is a declaration. A reminder that strength is not given, it is earned. And Kong has earned his crown 1,000 times over, but what makes him different from the other titans that walk this earth? Why do people call him the king? The answer lies not in his size or power, but in his battles. Each fight he has fought has shaped him, scarred him, and forced him to rise again. From the hidden depths of Skull Island to the burning streets of human cities, Kong has stood at the center of chaos. And every time he has risen stronger. Kong is not just a fighter, he is a protector. His story is not about hunger or destruction like many other monsters. His story is about survival and justice. When his island was invaded by Skullcrawlers, he fought not for glory, but to defend his home. When he clashed with Godzilla, it was not out of hatred, but out of duty. And when the world faced the mechanical terror of Mechagodzilla, it was Kong who stood tall, bloodied but unbroken, to strike the final blow. As storms gather over the horizon in 2025, the world whispers of a new war. A war that will not just test Kong's strength, but his very spirit. The war of the Titans is coming. Cities will fall, oceans will rise, and the earth will shake beneath the footsteps of gods and monsters. But at the center of it all, one figure will stand tall, refusing to bow. Kong. This is not just a story of battles. It is the chronicle of a king's rise through war. And to understand the future that awaits us in 2025, we must first travel back through his greatest fights. Each one tells a story. Each one reveals the soul of the Titan, and each one proves that Kong is not a monster to be feared, but a king to be remembered. So tonight we look back at his warpath. At the chaos, the fury, and the unforgettable moments when Kong's roar shook the skies and reminded the world that no matter how great the threat, there is always one who will rise to face it, because the war of the Titans is not just about survival, it is about who deserves the crown. And this is the tale of Kong, the one who dares to wear it. The jungle is alive with shadows. Vines hang like curtains, and the air is thick with heat and danger. Deep inside this wild, untamed world, a heartbeat echoes, a heartbeat so strong that the earth itself seems to move with it. This is Skull Island, a place of secrets, monsters, and myths. And at the center of it all stands the last of his kind. Kong's rise begins not with triumph, but with loss. He was born into a kingdom already at war. His parents, great guardians of Skull Island, fell defending their land against the horrors that crawled from beneath the earth, the Skullcrawlers. These predators weren't just beasts. They were nightmares given flesh, slithering from the darkness to consume everything in their path. Alone, as only a child, Kong grew up surrounded by death. Yet, in that loneliness, something greater was born, a will to survive. From those early days, the jungle became his teacher. Every storm tested his endurance. Every hunt sharpened his instincts. Every roar of an enemy pushed him closer to the warrior he would one day become. Unlike the other titans who fought simply to feed or dominate, Kong's fights were always about protection of his island, his people, and even those who wandered into his world uninvited. That is what makes him different. That is what makes him a king. As he grew, so too did his strength. By the time humans first stumbled upon Skull Island, Kong was no longer just a beast of the jungle. He had become its guardian. Helicopters fell from the sky like broken birds, but Kong's rage was not the mindless fury of a monster. It was the fury of a defender, striking back against intruders who threatened to bring ruin to his home. That was the first time the world saw him not as myth, but as legend. But what truly defines Kong's legacy are the scars he carries. Each mark across his body tells a story of survival. Each bone he shattered, each roar he unleashed, carved his place in history. These were not empty victories. They were stepping stones toward the crown that destiny placed upon his head. Kong became more than a titan of Skull Island. He became the last hope of balance in a world where monsters rise and humanity trembles. And yet, his story is not just about his battles against beasts. It is about his strange bond with humanity. Unlike many titans, Kong sees people not as prey, but as fragile lives worth protecting. When a small girl stood before him, tiny hand reaching up toward a giant, Kong chose not to crush, but to care. That moment revealed something rare within him, a heart, a soul, a will beyond instinct. He is not a mindless creature. He is a king who understands compassion. The rise of Kong is not written in stone or whispered in myth. It is written in blood, in sweat, and in the echoes of his thunderous steps. From the jungles of Skull Island to the heart of human cities, he has walked a path shaped by struggle and sacrifice. Each time the world thought him broken, he rose again. Each time his enemies thought they had silenced him, his roar shattered the skies. But rising to power is only the beginning. The crown of a king is heavy, and every fight he has won has only prepared him for the wars yet to come. Because beyond the horizon, shadows gather. Titans stir, and the question is no longer if Kong will fight again, but whether he will be strong enough to hold his throne when the War of the Titans begins. The world may not remember every beast that walked upon it, but it will remember Kong the orphan who rose from the ashes of Skull Island, the warrior who stood against gods and machines, and the king whose every step shakes the earth. His rise is not just his own, it is the rise of a legend that will echo through every battlefield to come. Every king is tested not by his throne, but by the battles he survives. For Kong, each war has been a trial of fire, and every opponent has pushed him closer to the warrior he was destined to be. These are not just fights, they are chapters in his legacy. The first true test came in the dark heart of Skull Island. The Skullcrawlers, slithering demons born of the earth, rose to challenge his reign. They were fast, merciless, with jaws that could crush bone in seconds. For years, they haunted his land, preying on everything that breathed. When Kong stood against them, it was not just survival, it was justice. The clash was brutal. Flesh ripped, earth shook, and the island trembled as predator met protector. With each strike of his fists, each bone-crushing slam against the earth, Kong reminded the Skullcrawlers that this island was not theirs to claim. When the last of them fell, battered and broken, it was more than victory. It was coronation. Kong had proven he was not prey, he was king, but the world is larger than one island, and destiny soon brought him face to face with a rival unlike any before, Godzilla. The clash of these two giants was more than a fight, it was a question. Who is the true king? The ocean itself shook as they battled, waves rising like walls as Godzilla's atomic fury met Kong's unyielding strength. On city streets, skyscrapers fell like toys as the two titans tore through steel and concrete, their roars echoing across the night. Every blow was an earthquake, every strike a storm. For the first time, Kong's strength met an equal. Though bloodied and beaten, he refused to bow. Even when the world thought him finished, he rose, defiant. That battle carved his name into the skies, not just as a titan, but as one who dared to stand against a god. Then came the machine, the cold shadow of humanity's fear, Mechagodzilla. A monster not born of earth, but of human hands and wires, designed for destruction. Its weapons cut deeper than claws, its strikes faster than any beast. For Kong, it was a battle unlike any other. Flesh against metal, spirit against calculation. The fight was merciless. He was thrown, crushed, beaten down, yet even as circuits sparked and metal claws closed in, Kong's will burned brighter. With bone axe in hand, he rose one final time, unleashing a fury that shattered steel and silenced the machine forever. That day, Kong did not just fight, he saved humanity from the monster they had built. Each of these battles carried more than blood and scars. They carried meaning. Against the Skullcrawlers, Kong became a protector. Against Godzilla, he became a rival king. Against Mechagodzilla, he became a savior. And each time he walked away stronger, wiser, more prepared for the storm that looms ahead. But 2025 whispers of new wars greater than any before. Shadows move in the deep, titans stir in the dark corners of the earth. Unknown enemies rise, and the stage is being set for the war of the titans. These battles, the ones we remember, were not endings. They were beginnings. Lessons carved into muscle and memory. Warnings that the world is changing, and that Kong's greatest test has not yet arrived. In every fight, Kong has stood alone. No army, no kingdom. Just one titan against the storm. And yet, each time he has reminded us why his name carries weight, why his roar shakes the heavens, and why he wears the crown. His battles are not just fights, they are legends. Legends that prepare us for the war to come, because when the next roar breaks the sky, it will not just be the echo of a king, it will be the sound of a world caught in the clash of titans. And Kong will be there, fists raised, scars burning, ready to fight once more. The battles we have witnessed are not just echoes of the past, they are warnings of what lies ahead. Every roar, every scar, every fallen foe has brought Kong to this moment. But destiny is not finished with him. The war that awaits in 2025 is not a battle of survival alone. It is a battle for the crown of all creation. Kong has risen from the ashes of Skull Island. He has clashed with demons from the deep, stood toe-to-toe with gods, and shattered the steel heart of a monster built by mankind. Each war has left him stronger, but each victory has also drawn the eyes of new enemies. For in this world where titans rule and kingdoms fall, power is never left unchallenged. The war of the titans will not be fought on a single battlefield. It will rage across oceans, skies, and cities. Beasts older than history may rise from the shadows. Forgotten monsters may awaken from their slumber. And when they do, Kong will stand at the heart of it, facing a storm greater than any he has known. But this war is not about strength alone, it is about legacy. For every titan, the question will be asked, who deserves to rule? Godzilla's fury burns from the depths of the sea, but Kong's fire rises from the heart. Machines may return sharper and deadlier than before. New horrors may crawl from the dark corners of the earth. But the one truth remains: Kong will fight. Not because he seeks power, not because he craves destruction, but because he is the last line between humanity and annihilation. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: Kong's story is far from over. His roar has shaken mountains, but the roar that is yet to come may split the heavens. His fists have shattered monsters, but the blows he will throw in the wars ahead may decide the fate of the world itself. The War of the Titans is not just another chapter, it is the climax of a legend, and when that day comes, the earth will tremble, cities will fall, oceans will rise, the sky will burn with the fire of titans, and through it all, a single silhouette will stand against the chaos, his chest heaving, his scars glowing, his roar defiant. Kong the king who refuses to kneel. The question is no longer whether he can fight. The question is whether he can win. For in this war there will be no room for weakness, no space for surrender. Only one will rise. Only one will be remembered. So, when the drums of battle thunder in 2025, when monsters old and new clash in the greatest war the world has ever known, ask yourself this: will Kong's strength be enough to hold the crown? Or will this be the war that breaks him? The storm is coming. The titans are gathering. And the world waits for the roar that will decide its fate, because this is not just Kong's fight. This is the war of the titans. And in the end, only the king will remain.